Great combos.
We had some very, very great fucking
Totally.
conversations. I'm still sitting with, it's just like, man, this is good shit. Good, when you talk to people, you learn a lot, and it's fucking good to
Yeah.
keep in your head. But one thing I want to kind of branch off to is we were talking about, spirituality
Very
and
important.
religion and all these things and stuff
Yes.
at the time, and I wanted to kind of see, let you lead it off, where you're at with it, what you're thinking about it.
Just like what I think about spirituality in
Yeah,
general.
well, because I remember at the time, when we were sitting there talking to Dick Sporting Goods all the time, you mentioned at the time that you were atheist,
Right.
And even I, to this day, I still can't. Even when we talked back then to now, I was baptized LDS and
Right.
then stopped going. I was 10, 11 or something like that. And then even to this day, I believe in God, but I still
Totally.
don't. I'm still kind of building my own educational thing, and
Yeah, I mean,
this is probably any religious person will think this is stupid as fuck, but right now it's kind of like I'm trying to focus on my future, my life, trying to better myself and do things like this to better,
Absolutely.
hopefully inspire other people. But
yeah, which I think you do a great job at that.
Well, thank you so much. But it's like at some point in the time, I do want to read the Bible. I do want to do these things so I can be educated, and then
Totally.
finally be
I think
like,
that's great.
I'm Christian. But like right now, this is fucked up, and a lot of people won't agree with this. But I have it on the back burner because I just want to focus on these things
Well, that's okay.
I have a passion for, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But that's what I just want to mention. But at the time, you did mention that, and so I wanted to see, that's where you were. How are you feeling now? Are you still?
Yeah, no, okay, so as far as like what my religious views are, I would say that I don't consider myself an atheist anymore. I consider myself an atheist to certain religions. I mean, being an atheist doesn't mean that you necessarily, it's kind of, that term has been taken over. So when people think atheist, one, they think asshole.
Right, yeah.
And two, they think, these spokespeople for atheism over the last decade, these scientists and astrophysicists and evolutionary biologists. I feel like they came on too aggressively, and they attacked religious belief as far as what the Bible tells us is historically accurate about the world, or the Quran, or whatever it is.
Right.
And so I am on the side with science as far as like what is the physical evidence of a lot of these occurrences that are, or these things that are listed in the Bible. I think the book of Genesis is the best example. I mean, if you were to read the Bible and take it for literal facts, then it's telling you that the earth is only 10,000 years old. That humans have only walked the earth for however
X
long.
amount of time,
but through science, we can tell that the earth is more around like 5 billion years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like that. So, but that's a whole another subject, and I could go off on that forever.
Right,
but as far as like spirituality, God, why can't I talk today, man? This Red Bull's giving me a buzz. Holy cow, I'm tongue twisted.
You're good.
Anyway, spirituality and religion are kind of two different things, but they fall along the same line as far as what they do for people internally. Now, I don't have any problem with religious people in any way, shape, or form. I think that spirituality, whether it's through your religion or other means, is extremely important just for the human spirit. I mean, and I think that whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, or whatever else, Jewish, Catholic, they all have a commonality. And that commonality is the spiritual aspect to it. I mean, religion does great things for people. I grew up in a very religious family. I mean, my immediate family, not so much, but most of my family are very religious people, and and a lot of my friends too.
Right.
And I see what that does for them.
Right.
And it can do really great things for people.
Fantastic.
And I think that we shouldn't, like, that should be encouraged.
Yeah.
My issue is like, why do you have to have and especially in America where you kind of have freedom of religion mixed with free enterprise, so it allows these whatever kind of religion to just sprout up, and some of them gain more popularity and a lot of momentum over time. I just think that like their beliefs, their belief systems change over time. Right. So it's hard for me to like go and sit down at a church and have somebody tell me like, this is how it is. What I do, my own personal thing is I take a lot of my spirituality from like Buddhist practice. So I try to meditate every single day. I think that
Buddhists believe in a god, or are they?
I actually don't know a lot about like the history of Buddhism or the actual practices. I go to a Dharma center sometimes, and we learn more. It's more about like learning about yourself.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, like we meditate. We just it's kind of more about like overcoming obstacles in your life through like meditation and thinking about like
Right.
like your psychology, kind of
Mm.
what your flaws and insecurities are, and bringing those to light and being okay with it.
Right.
Essentially, is kind of what it boils down to in a way. But I think that's why it's important because it's. I think that at the end of the day, it's almost arrogant to say that that humans are like the the most conscious things in the universe. You know,
Right.
I think that the commonality between all religions and my God view is that God is something that we can't necessarily comprehend on
Yes.
our level.
Thousand
It's
percent.
bigger than, and the way that I see the world, and just from what I've learned through reading books about evolutionary biology and things like that, is things work from the ground up in nature,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not from the top down. And that's why I've kind of separated myself from religion, because religion is like this top down perspective of things. Like there's just one God controlling everything
Yeah.
at all times. It doesn't make sense to me in a lot of ways of like how could that be when there's so much of this and that. And I don't want to like we would talk for 10 hours if we were to get
Right.
into like, the
But I see what you're saying.
specifics of that. But I think that God is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's something that exists in every living thing.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, nobody really knows. I mean, I could be
Exactly.
completely wrong. That's
Yeah.
just kind of just through what
What
I've
you
learned
learn.
about the world and what I've read. That's just kind of what I've kind of learned to accept. So I wouldn't call myself
Right.
an atheist. I think that God is just something that we don't. I think God is love. I think He's consciousness.